Hi guys, it's Amy, your golf coach. Welcome to Playing for the First Time series. Today we're going to talk about the pace of play. Let's get started. Subscribe, like, comment down below how your golf game is. Now, back to the golf lesson. When you're a new golfer, beginner golfer, my biggest suggestion is go with a friend who's more advanced, who can guide you, lead you on the golf course. There are so many things going on other than just hitting golf balls. You have to keep an eye on pace of play. That means you have to keep up with the group in front of you and make sure you're not holding the people behind you. If you haven't played that many times, I do suggest going out on a par 3 9-hole course where there are, mostly beginners there. So pace of play may not be as big of an issue. If you're in a regular 18-hole really nice course, then starters will come over and tell you to pick it up and pass groups behind you to go ahead of you, etc., etc. That could be very stressful, believe it or not. So pace of play is very important. So you always have to keep an eye on the group in front and behind. But also, if you're a beginner, it's a great idea to hit a shot, pick up your golf ball if you advanced only 20 yards, and go up about 100 yards, put it next to your friend, and then try and hit from there again. You still be able to hit maybe 3-4 shots on the fairway and then have a maximum number of 2 putts on the greens. You hit twice, pick it up, and move on to the next hole. That would be the smartest thing for pace of play and also to help you not stress out too much on the course. That way you can enjoy your first few rounds on the golf course. Usually the tee times are, anywhere from 7 minutes apart to 10 minutes apart. So when you're on a par 3, you want to see the group in front of you just walking off the green when you get to the tee box. When you're on a par 4, you want to see your group in front just walking off, hitting after their second shot and going onto the greens. If you're on the tee box and the group in front of you is already on the green or going off the green, then now you're considered as falling behind. Even though if you're keeping up nicely, if the group behind you is playing a lot faster, it's nice to ask them, offer, if they want to go ahead of you, or if there's no one in front of you, always offer the group behind you to pass through. But I really wouldn't pass more than like 2 groups through, because then you'll be just passing all day without advancing much. Rushing on the golf course could be very stressful, but once you get used to it, you become a very brisk player, which everyone's going to love and appreciate. Everyone's gonna want to play golf with you. So really learn to pay attention to pace of play. The best thing is to have more advanced golfer out there helping you, guiding you, for sure. One more tip before we wrap up here. A lot of beginners are wondering when to hit your shot if you see the group in front of you, which is an excellent question. Obviously, you'd have to know kind of a ballpark of your distance range, and if they're well outside of that, then now you're able to hit, because you don't want to hit into the group in front. It is very rude and also it's very dangerous. I've seen accidents on the golf course, getting carried to the hospital, bleeding, all that. So it's really important not to hit anybody. If you make a wrong judgment, you think they're out of your range and you hit and you see it getting close to them, then you have to call out 4. F-O-R-E, 4, just to give them heads up that there is golf ball flying at their way. Even if you hit it to the wrong fairway and there are people standing there, just always warn them so they can duck and cover themselves, not get hit, hopefully. So talking about range of your distance, if you're a complete beginner, then it'll be hard to gauge your distance. But as you advance and become a little bit more consistent with the shots, it's a really good idea to come up with your distance chart. For example, I actually asked my mom, probably seen her in a lot of my course vloggings. She actually knew exactly how far she hits her shots. She's a handicap 20. She's well into her 60s. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to mention that. Her driver, she hits it 190 yards, which is really far for her size and obviously her build and age. 3-wood is about 160 yards. 7-wood is 148 yards. Very specific. I love it. 25-degree hybrid is 139 yards. 25-degree would be replacing like a 5-iron. 28-degree hybrid, she hits it 129, which replaces about 6-iron. 7 iron, she hits it 110, 9 iron about 100, 10 iron 90 to 95, 11 iron 70 to 85. Different brands have 10, 11 as well, but usually those are considered as pitching wedge and approach wedge or gap wedge. Sand wedge, full swing would be anywhere between 60 to 70 yards. I have to mention that she is in the long hitter range for her build and her age, but she is fairly strong, surprises me to this day. The brand she uses has strong lofted irons, so 7 iron is really a 6 iron. Compared to her like driver distance, her irons aren't as long, so I have talked to her about that. So I think the ladies set is a little bit too weak for her, so we're gonna do some trial and error and have her use men's senior clubs because that's what she uses for the driver. Anyways, I just wanted to give you kind of a feel for what you should look forward to. My distances are usually very similar to regular men distance, anyone who is 20 handicap or under. So my driver, I usually hit it right around 240. 3 wood is 210, 5 wood is 195, 4 hybrid I hit it 180, 5 iron 110, 6 iron 160, 7 iron 150, and there's like 10-yard increment there. My wedges, I've been trying several different wedges. I usually have a 52 degree, 58 degree, but right now I have completely different sets of wedges, so I'm not 100% sure on my wedges, but eventually I want you to come up with a chart for your yardages, so that way you know exactly how far you hit it. This chart will change as your golf game gets better and better, obviously, but I always want you to be aware of what you hit when it's like 100 yards or what you hit when it's like 150 yards. Always kind of pay attention and write them down. Eventually you'll have a chart. So that way you won't be hitting into people. Over time and experience, you know how far 150 feels like. Or if you play on the same course over and over, you know if you'll be able to reach the group in front of you or not. That takes time and experience. That's why I always want you to have a more advanced golfer who can guide you and tell you when you're okay to hit or not. I wanted to talk about basic pace of play. It'll feel very rushed in the beginning, but eventually you get used to it. It'll become very normal to you and have a lot of time actually between shots once you get used to the right pace of play. I hope you're able to follow along. If you have any questions on today's topic, please come to my website's Ask Aimee section. Leave your questions and comments there. I'll get back to you guys on those. Thanks for golfing with me. And in the next one, let's talk about some rules. I'll see you in the next one. Mwah.